I represent Khaled El-Masri, who's a German citizen who was subject to the extraordinary rendition program by the United States in 2004. And before we filed the case, we substantiated his rendition from Macedonia to a secret prison in Afghanistan. Our records were also substantiated by the Council of Europe and the European Parliament. So we had a stack of documents this big substantiating the fact that US officials rendered Khaled El-Masri from Macedonia halfway around the world to a secret prison in Afghanistan. We had flight records. We had evidence that Khaled had told us that there was an earthquake, an earth tremor, when he was in Afghanistan detained. And we substantiated that there was an earth tremor at that exact time. We had significant amount of information that backed up his claims of US involvement in rendition, detention and torture. We filed the case and we provided the court with this evidence. Within days of us filing the case, the government intervened and it said effectively, this case is a state secret. For Khaled El-Masri, a survivor of torture, to have his day in a US court would be harmful to US national security interests, and the government asked the judge to immediately dismiss the case, to throw it out without consideration of all that evidence. And that's exactly what the US court did. The trial court threw out the case. It said that this would be harmful to US national security interests if Khaled El-Masri had his day in a US court. And the appeals court effectively found the same, that it would be harmful to US national security interests if the case were litigated. And we then appealed all the way up to the highest court in the United States, the US Supreme Court, and the US Supreme Court didn't even consider the case. It didn't think it important enough for the US Supreme Court to consider the evidence and claims of torture. So that was the end of Khaled El-Masri's case in US courts. To date, there has been no accountability for survivor of US torture and detention in the post-9/11 era. The cases have been either thrown out, as Khaled El-Masri's case was, on the basis of state secrets, or the government has sought to have cases dismissed, and courts have accepted these arguments that US officials who are involved in torture and arbitrary detention and enforced disappearance are immune from lawsuits in US courts. We're hoping that imminently the Senate Intelligence Committee will release a 400-page summary of a larger 6,000-page report on the CIA's use of torture and abusive treatment. And we're hopeful that that will be the platform for accountability to move forward in the United States. But again, we'll have to wait and see what that report